Rapper Rob Bass is gone. The man whose name is carved into the foundation of hip-hop culture, the voice behind the timeless anthem, It Takes Two, has passed away at the age of 59. For those who grew up in the late 80s and early 90s, Rob Bass wasn't just a rapper. He was the soundtrack to block parties, school dances, and the first days of hip-hop blasting out of boom boxes and car speakers. His death marks the quiet end of a legacy that helped shape the sound of an entire generation. And as the bass lines fade, so does the life of a man who knew how to make a crowd move with just a few words and a beat. Robert Ginyard, better known as Rob Bass, was born in Harlem, New York, and from the streets of that neighborhood his sound was born. Not flashy, not polished in a Hollywood sense, but real, grounded, and infectious. He teamed up with DJ Easy Rock to create one of the most recognizable tracks in hip-hop history. It Takes Two, released in 1988. That song didn't just climb the charts. It embedded itself into the DNA of pop culture. It showed up in commercials, movies, TV shows, and even decades later, at weddings and sports arenas, where the opening beat alone was enough to make a room stop and turn toward the dance floor. Rob Bass's voice on that track is confident, playful, and direct, almost like a command. Step to the beat. Move your body. Feel the rhythm. It wasn't just music, it was a ritual. What made It Takes Two so special was how it bridged two worlds. The beat, built on James Brown's funk energy and crisp, looped samples, was approachable enough for casual listeners, while still raw and street-smart enough for rap purists. Rob Bass's delivery landed right in the middle. He wasn't trying to be the most lyrically complex MC on the block, but he knew how to work a hook, command a crowd, and ride a groove like it was second nature. That balance helped hip-hop climb into the mainstream in the late 80s and early 90s, smoothing the way for the explosion of rap that would follow. Young fans discovered hip-hop through songs like It Takes Two, and many of them never looked back. Rob Bass, in that sense, wasn't just a hit maker, he was a gateway. Beyond that one iconic track, Rob Bass stayed in the culture, touring, performing, and reminding fans that he was still very much part of the scene. He didn't vanish after the initial wave of success. Instead, he brought It Takes Two back to life night after night, festival after festival, watching new generations discover the song the same way older ones had. Seeing him perform live became a kind of passing of the torch moment. The original artist, still in the booth, still hyping the crowd, while the crowd's children and grandchildren danced in front of the stage. That continuity is rare in music, especially in a genre that moves as fast as hip-hop does, and it speaks to the durability of his impact. Rob Bass's death at 59 leaves a quiet but heavy emptiness in the world of old-school hip-hop. At that age, he was still young enough that many fans assumed he'd be around for years, still dropping bars, still showing up at tribute shows, still threading the needle between nostalgia and relevance. But life rarely follows the scripts we imagine, and hip-hop, like every other art form, has to reckon with the loss of its pioneers sooner than we want. When the news of his passing spreads, it does more than announce the end of a life. It triggers a wave of memories. People will pull up the song, replay it one more time, and for a few minutes, they'll be transported back to the first time they heard those opening bars. That's the kind of power Rob Bass wielded, not through awards or headlines, but through the simple, unshakable fact that his voice lives in the recordings that outlive him. For those who paid close attention, Rob Bass's influence reaches beyond one track. He was part of the wave of artists in the late 80s who proved that hip-hop could be fun, energetic, and socially aware at the same time. At a time when the genre was still being pigeonholed as either party music or political protest, rappers like Rob Bass showed that it could be both, something that made you dance while also reminding you of where the sound came from. His style, rooted in Harlem and shaped by the streets of New York, carried the swagger and sharpness that would echo in later generations of rappers, even if they never mentioned his name. To some, he was a one-hit wonder. To others, he was a reminder that one lightning-in-a-bottle moment can be enough to alter the course of music history. In the days following his death, tributes will stream in from rappers, DJs, fans, and anyone who ever felt the pull of that beat. They'll talk about the first time they heard It Takes Two, the first time they saw him perform live, or the first time they realized that hip-hop could be about joy as much as struggle. Those stories will circulate online, pass from one person to the next like